Good afternoon. This is Adam Small with Agent Sauce, and this is the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. With me today is Doug Carr.
Hello, sir.
How you doing today, Doug?
Fantastic.
And we got intern Austin.
Hello.
How you doing, Austin?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, listen, guys. Today I was thinking we could talk about landing pages.
Yay.
The elements of a good landing page, what makes an effective landing page. You know, even just define for some people what a landing page is. So, why don't you start, Doug, with defining a landing page for us?
Oh, thanks.
I'm going to put you on the spot right away, man.
Well, a landing page is basically when people land on your website, you have a home page, obviously, but a lot of people don't land on a home page.
Right.
They land internal to a site. Well, when you want to target a page that they're going to land internal, so it might be a Facebook advertisement or a link that you're sharing via social media, you want them to land directly onto a page that you want them to convert on. You don't want them to dance around your site or anything else. And so that's called a landing page.
Right.
You have a place where they're going to click and then a place where they're going to land. And on that landing page is where you also want them to convert.
Right.
Provide your information, fill in a form, buy a product, do whatever.
So it's a special page built just to for somebody to come to from an ad.
Yeah.
And stay there
or
and
a click.
convert. Ad or a click
Yeah.
of some sort. But the whole intent is that it's created specifically for one purpose and for traffic to be driven to it and then convert.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's say if you're a real estate agent and you wrote for the local newspaper.
Right.
And you wrote an article on, what would be a good one?
Things every buyer should know before buying a home.
Okay, that's a perfect one. Well, you would want to make sure that you didn't just throw them onto an article on your site. You'd want to put them on a landing page on your site where they could read that article, but they could also convert. If you need more information, fill in the
Right,
information,
right.
set an appointment, whatever.
Right. So, great. Along those lines, then there are certain elements of every landing page that should be present, right?
Yep.
Off the top of my head, one that comes to mind is a call to action,
Yep.
a form, and then obviously the reward, some content or downloadable content or something along those lines, right? What other things do you think might be required? What would be best to have on a landing page?
Well, sometimes it's not what's on it, it's what's off it too.
Like
So
a navigation bar.
a lot of people
Right.
leave navigation because they want it to be an exit. They want you just to go there and that's it. And so a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people will leave the navigation off, and that way they just have your attention captured right there.
Right. There's no other option, nowhere else to explore or anything like that, which, the one train of thought on that is, oh no, what if this isn't good enough and doesn't convert them? I'm going to give them somewhere else to go. That's why I leave it on there. But the other side of that is by channeling the reader into one position, one place, they really only have two options.
Yep.
Either request more information from you or leave altogether. And if they're interested, they're going to do the request more information from you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So then what's not on there is important as what is on there. And we've talked about having a call to action and a form so far, right? And,
Yep.
and some content. So call to action, what's important to have in that call to action?
You want a good, you want it to be a good, strong title that's going to grab their attention.
Big letters,
Yep.
attention grabbing,
Yeah.
colors.
Maybe. I mean, definitely a stark difference from the background or whatever. You don't want it to be
Hard to read.
Hard to read.
Right. So you want it to flow well, want it to be visible, contrast well, right? I seem to recall reading not too long ago about how certain colors converted more than others. I think you've actually done some A/B testing with that, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a bunch of science behind colors and what works. Like luxury colors are blacks, and blue is a color of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Green is a color of like new and fresh, and you just think about obviously like the people that are trying to save energy and everything, the green,
Right,
that's green.
they go with green.
So what winds up happening is when you go to a page and it's green, it evokes,
associates in your mind, right? Just like
Yeah.
you were talking elegance and luxury would be, that glossy black and either a mixture of gold or maybe silver, depending on what they're trying to convey, right? So
white is purity.
right,
So
right. So color is important. On the form, the data collection forms, right? How much data should you collect?
the least possible. So there's substantial research out there that absolutely shows that the more form fields that you have, the more you're going to lose someone. And part of the thing that we tend to see is that people will ask for a bunch of information that's really not relevant.
Right.
And sometimes they ask for things that they could have pre-filled in.
Mm-hmm.
So like in an email, if you had a good call to action in an email,
Right.
you've already got their email address. You probably have their name in your CRM, everything else.
Right. So go ahead and pre-fill those,
Pre-fill
pre-populate
those,
it, right?
yeah. Pre-populate those. Have it on your landing page where it captures that data hidden, where
Right.
you don't even see it. You
Right,
know?
right.
And so that's you just want to make it nice and easy and quick for someone to fill in the information.
So collect only as much information as possible to get you through to what you need. So,
Yeah, and don't think that that's like just an email address or just a name. You know, obviously, if you want to pre-qualify a lead or something like that, you know, for a real estate agent, it might be, you know, how soon are you thinking about buying a home?
right.
And if it's less than 60 days, you want to reach out to them. But if someone says, you know,
A year.
2 years,
Right.
you know, you're probably not going to be interested.
They go more into your long-term
Yeah.
funnel, and you nurture that relationship as opposed to saying, well, I need to pick up the phone and call them tomorrow. Right. So cool. So what other elements of a landing page are important, Doug?
Testimonials.
Testimonials, so
So-
social proof.
Yeah, having a quote from somebody that says, you know, oh, you know, this is my favorite real estate agent, or, you know,
Right.
loved working with them, whatever it is, and have a picture of that person as well, so that people don't think it's just a fake.
Because that really lends to the social proof that other people are using it or buying it or whatever it may be, and they're liking it and enjoying it, right?
Yeah, trust is the hardest thing that you're trying to overcome on this. So,
And by putting the picture up there along with the quote, you're putting a face to a name, which immediately evokes, oh well, this is a real person. This isn't just something that was made up, So interesting. So we've got testimonials, we've got forms, and what about branding? We'll try that again. How important is it to have your branding on the landing page?
you know, it's one of those things that there's mixed reviews on that.
Okay.
Honestly, if you have a really strong brand, like, you know, we've got the Agents House logo up behind us.
Right.
Obviously, the colors on that, the fonts, everything else. The more that you use them, again, trust is evoked, right?
Right.
Oh, I see these guys all the time. I saw them, you know, at a conference. I saw this, I saw that, and so it tends to evoke that. For other people, though, if it's a brand that nobody knows about,
Right.
sometimes we don't worry about the brand too much, and we worry more about the message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you'll find landing pages where the company isn't even they go by their own domain separate from their website,
Right.
and they don't use any branding, and they just want you to focus on that content, you know, and pull them in.
Good. So
So it might be like in the real estate agent industry, it might be real estate investments. You
Right.
know, someone might have, they're a real estate agent, but they might have a landing page out there just called real estate investments, and it talks about, you know, investing and trying to get someone to click through on that.
what about social media in any way, shape, or form? Do you link to it, or do you put anything from social media into the landing pages? Is there any sort of tie between social media and a landing page?
Most people have social media sharing buttons on a landing page because they work so hard to build a great landing page that they want people to share it. And so, and what that's great for is, look, I might be curious, but if I'm in the real estate industry, I might want to share it with everybody.
True.
Well, it's a pain in the butt for me to grab a link and put it in Facebook, but if I could just share it with a button,
Right
you know,
then
that
and
makes
there,
it
right?
a lot easier. So,
Right.
and then on the reverse, like you said, if you're going to share it on social media, you probably want some kind of campaign tracking so that in analytics you can see, oh, I got this many people from Facebook who converted, or
Right,
this many
right.
from Twitter.
This is where my traffic's coming from.
Yeah.
These are my conversions, because you could very well be getting a ton of traffic from, one social media network and not much from the second, but the second is the one that's converting the most.
Right.
So then to try to focus your efforts there,
Yeah.
right? So analytics is obviously something you want to have on a landing page as well.
Yep.
So, and the importance of analytics is can't be understated, because that tells you whether or not it's working, ROI, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards there. So, make sure you get your analytics code into the landing page, and also on any links or whatever leading into the landing page, so that you can further classify not only the amount of times the page itself worked and was converting, but where the source of those conversions and that traffic is coming from too. So,
Right.
cool. Austin, I'm going to put you on the spot. You got any questions for Doug regarding landing pages, or any thoughts?
I think the biggest thing is, how do you differentiate when you're putting the actual button for them to click to submit their form? Should they just put submit right there, or should they put get this?
Oh, the verbiage.
free?
Yeah, a lot of
'Cause
people-
I think a lot of people, they might think too much into it, or
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
You're gonna look like
Yeah, I got.
you got like this.
It's like a prisoner or something behind bars, right? Yeah.
You seriously might want to cut that out.
That's okay.
All right.
It's just a dry run.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people don't like to say they're submitting to.
Sometimes,
anything.
yeah. I mean, one of the things that I was going to bring up was testing, and so I never say no, but I always say test it. So. And everything on a landing page, like there's a lot of tools out there that you could do A/B testing,
Right.
version testing, and so those are the types of things: headings and content and pictures and background colors, buttons, button sizes, button colors, button messages. All of those things you could use these systems and basically test. And so what happens is Adam goes to the website and it shows please send the information. You show up on it and it says something else. I show up on it. And then at the end of, a month, you can sit there and say, oh, this one got a higher click-through rate. Let's just change the verbiage to that and keep it that way.
Well, and along those lines too, recently you just did a pretty slick little integration with the landing page where it displayed a different phone number based on location.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole intent and purpose of that was to be able to track where the locations were coming from and which leads were generating.
Yeah, that was a client that they want the majority of their leads to come to call.
Right.
That's what they want. They don't want them to click the button or submit a form. And so what we did was we put a dynamic phone number up there, so that if they came from a search engine, we made it one phone number. If they came from social, it's a different number. If they came from a website, it was different. And with that, and then we can track which number they called and see where the traffic was coming from and where the conversions were coming from.
So which efforts are working most.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So very, very slick integration there. Cool.
A couple other things people shouldn't forget is SSL is becoming more and more important nowadays. I think Google has warned people for about the 5th time.
Right. I was just reading something where they recently said something yet again.
And I would say that the thing that they're going to hit hardest is landing pages, because you're entering form data.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people that don't understand, it's that when you don't have a secure certificate on your website and people click send, they're sending that raw data basically in a stream that
Anybody can see that with a packet sniffer in between.
If they were sniffing anything upstream on the wireless router, on anything. And so what SSL does is basically it does a handshake first, and it says, hey, give me some kind of key. It gives me a key, and then I encrypt my data, and then I send it. And so anybody sniffing can't see raw data.
Right.
And so SSL is a really, really critical piece, I think, of any landing page nowadays. You want to have an SSL certificate on there. And then the second one, which people don't think about at all, is legal. is how are you using the data. So you might want to have a privacy statement on there saying
terms and conditions as well.
Basically, and you can look these up, and in all honesty, you could go look at another website and see what theirs are, and and write them. You can go buy them online from attorney.
There are
firms.
services out there that do that, right?
Yeah, but for the most part, what you're trying to do is tell people how you're going to use that data. Because if I submit my data to you, and then you go sell it to a third party, but you didn't tell me that, if you didn't say that that's what you were going to do,
right,
you get in real trouble. So a real estate agent, let's say a real estate agent has their own personal website, but they belong to a real estate group, and they take your data and they throw it into the group, and all of a sudden somebody else starts calling them from the group or whatever. You could get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so you want to be able to tell them, hey, we're only utilizing this data for X, Y, and Z. We never sell it to third parties. We, whatever.
Right.
But I would almost always recommend a legal statement on a landing page as well, just to say how you're going to use the data.
Okay. Well, what about copy itself, right? So, I would think that one of the more important things is, everybody wants to try to get their message across, but you don't want to make it super intensive where it's like trying to read a novel, right?
Yes and no. You definitely want subheadings and everything broken up easy that people can scan it.
Right.
But some of the more surprising things are you'll read a lot online where people say short landing pages. Like don't make people scroll and all that stuff.
Right.
But the stats are pretty much
well,
the
long
opposite.
copy is really effective if you've done it right.
I mean, go to the Amazon Alexa page. It's a mile long. It's got characteristics and testimonials and ratings and reviews and you name it, it's got it on there, and that's a huge high selling high converting Amazon test.
Right.
400 different ways on those pages, and so So what I would say is you want enough information to obviously get someone's interest piqued, maybe not so much that you answer their question though,
Right.
And what I mean by that is you want them to understand enough that they want a little bit more. You don't want to just give them the full answer. It would be like someone comes to your page and says, how much is X? And you write, well, here's all the things that go into pricing out, this. Call us for a quote.
Right.
Right. And so you're basically, they educated
You're giving them an idea, you're helping them, but
they're
you're
pulling me in for the fun.
drawing it back to you. Right, exactly. So, cool. Any final thoughts? Anything else?
Well, videos do help landing pages.
Yeah.
You want to keep them, again, fairly short, 30 seconds to a couple minutes.
Right.
But customer testimonials or an explanation or an introduction.
Video.
If it's a real estate agent, it might be a great, a really nice warm, introduction to them. So
Right.
So video is one of those things that I'd absolutely recommend.
Okay.
And I think more and more recommending video.
Cool. Any other thoughts? Anything else?
I lost it.
It'll come back to you later. We may add it as an addendum underneath the.
I know what I was going to say. A takeaway, like give them something right there.
Right.
Like instead of that. It might be a PDF or something that you can give to them, but
the reward, right?
Yeah, tease them with something right there before you just up and call them.
Right.
And so, it's I download stuff all the time, and I always get an email or a phone call a few days later that says, "Hey, I noticed that you downloaded our white paper. Did you have any questions on it?" And that's a nice warm introduction. It's not a cold one. So
right.
I'd say if you can provide something of value, to someone to fill out the information right then and there, you're going to increase your conversion rate.
Great.
And tell them that they're going to get it.
Yeah. We'll let them know, inform, right?
Yeah.
So, Austin, any thoughts? Any questions?
Just one takeaway I have is just creating more landing pages. I think that's shown time and time again that you're just increasing your opportunities to convert more leads on that.
Totally agree. It's something that I think we're all terrible at. I am.
Don't have near enough of them.
I should have 25 different landing pages on my site, and I don't.
Right.
And so I try to work the other way. I try to make every page a landing page, and try to think of it from that direction.
Right.
That,
That's an interesting concept.
but it's really, you're absolutely right. You should have 10 landing pages out there working for you all the time.
Right. Great. So, hey, thanks guys for joining us. Appreciate it. A couple of takeaways, I guess, would be create more landing pages, test, quantify,
Yep.
and make sure you reward the person that's giving you their information. So those are
Yeah.
the three that I think.
And use
Probably
the
most
data
important.
wisely. Well, people don't like giving up their information and then seeing
for
it abused.
nothing, right? Exactly. So cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. If you need more information, want to learn more, you can check us out at agentsauce.com. Have a great day.